Hi, my name is Cam Jenks. I'm a videographer and editor, and today I'm going to explain why you don't need a huge budget to make a good short film. If you clicked on this video, I can assume one of three things. You've either never made a short film, you're currently making a short film, or you're planning on making a short film. Which is why everything I'm going to go over today are going to be kind of mindsets that you can implement even during the middle of a project. So I'm going to go over three main points that I think are extremely important to creating a good short film on a small budget. The first one being writing a practical script. Now, I know I just said everything in this video that I cover is going to be able to be applicable, at any stage within the process. And still, even if you've written a script and you're mid-script, you can change your script, okay? It's not locked down. Especially at this early stage, if you have to make edits, do not be afraid to make edits. Obviously, you can't make huge story changes to your script. However, you can adjust your script mid-production, especially on a small script like this. And honestly, scenes get cut in huge budget movies. So, make whatever changes you need to make. If you need to remove a scene because you can't technologically do it, don't be afraid to do that. Putting out a project is better than not putting out one at all. Now, with that being said, there is a fine line. You don't want an unfinished project that feels dull and empty. However, you also don't want to appear like you're trying to just do too much. Again, this is a very fine line, and I don't want to tell you to not be creative and to not take risks because that would be going against everything that I believe in as a creator. But let's take a step back and let's go back to the writing of the script. As you write your script, you're going to want to keep in mind, resource limitations. So technology that you don't have access to, locations you don't have access to. You're going to want to write with those things in mind. So for example, if you're writing a scene and it involves, I don't know, a bedroom, you're going to want to write that scene with a specific bedroom in mind that you have access to and that you could film in. Otherwise, it's just going to create, these weird discrepancies and issues with what you think you saw in your head compared to, what it's going to be on camera. Just make sure you keep in mind everything you have available to you as you write, and incorporate that into your script. Which kind of leads me to my next point. Be resourceful with your thinking. This is extremely important. I cannot stress this enough. So if you don't have a big budget, you more than likely have very little equipment, very little team, probably unpaid actors. You know what I mean? So you need to be very, very resourceful with everything around you. Again, this kind of plays into what I was just saying by keeping in mind accessible locations and accessible technology that you have the ability to edit or film certain types of shots with. So you need to be very, very resourceful with everything around you. I mean, even if you don't have a camera, you use a phone. If you want to be a filmmaker and you can't afford a camera and you can't see yourself affording one anytime soon, use a phone. We live in a great era for camera technology, specifically in the sense of it being literally in the palm of our hands. So there's really no excuse. I mean, starting with no budget, you have to take shortcuts sometimes. To use a direct example, in my first ever short film, our boom arm was literally a PVC pipe. If I have a picture or video, I'll throw it up now. I mean, we literally took our microphone, duct taped it around a PVC pipe. That was our boom arm. I mean, that's what we used. And it got the job done. It got me through my first project. I mean, yeah, we kind of looked jank, and it wasn't the greatest. It wasn't the ideal situation, but we made it work. We were kind of just sitting there. We were like, how are we going to get a boom arm? We can't afford a boom arm. We could barely afford the equipment we had. PVC pipe. This is where that resourceful thinking comes in. And there's lots of other examples of this and multiple assets. If you don't have lights, buy flashlights. If you don't have a reflector, use a mirror, whatever you need to do to get the shot done. Don't let your ego get in the way of doing something that seems unprofessional or cheap. Because most of the time, resourceful thinking like this can extremely elevate your films. Not to mention, being resourceful like this is an extremely valuable skill to have across all aspects of this career, Hollywood and indie. Having things go wrong and changing things on the fly isn't just associated with indie films. This can go all the way up to Hollywood, which again, almost seamlessly leads me to my next point. Don't chase perfection, okay? Again, please, for the love of God, do not chase perfection. Comparison is the thief of joy. And comparison in this aspect is the thief of your career. If you're consistently comparing yourself to other filmmakers or, people your age even that maybe this is their first film, but their parents have, $10,000. That's what you're not seeing. Look at these kids my age. They've got all this equipment and their film looks so much better than them. Everyone starts at their own place, and comparing yourself to others is just going to absolutely destroy your ability to grow. So to recap, I believe you can in fact make a really good short film with little to no budget as long as you write a practical script, keeping in mind resource limitations, use resourceful thinking, and you don't chase perfection. If you have any further questions or even video requests, make sure to comment them down below. I'm open to everything. This is my first YouTube video. My name is Cam Jenks. Once again, I own Vehicle City Visuals as well as 1895 Digital, a filmmaking company. 1895 Digital has released 3 films, our largest film actually having 160,000 views currently on YouTube. Vehicle City Visuals is my personal company. I primarily do music videos and, well, this content on there. If you've made it this far into the video, I truly do appreciate it a lot. And if you haven't already, I would appreciate it even more if you could like the video, subscribe, and maybe even hit that notification bell. It would be much appreciated. I'll see you in the next one.